Hello readers and writers, I'm MJ, and today we're going to be talking about fantasy new releases for the last part of 2023. If you haven't checked it out already, I have a science fiction new releases video that is already up. You can check it out here, and that is looking at the science fiction books that I am most interested in that are releasing between September and December of 2023. And now we're going to be talking about the fantasy books that I'm interested in. For most of the year, I've really been on a science fiction kick, and there's been so many great science fiction books that I've mostly been interested in the science fiction new releases, but this trimester, it's definitely has swapped, and there's more fantasy books that I'm actually interested in than science fiction books. So I think this is a great list. It does have some sequels on it. I have only included the sequels on this list if I have at least started the series and liked the series. There are so many more fantasy sequels coming out this last part of 2023, but I did not include them on the list because I haven't started the series and I didn't know if I would then recommend them. For the most part, this is an adult fantasy list, but there is one new adult / YA sequel on here because it's just so good that it needs to be on here, and so I am looking forward to it and would recommend it. So without further ado, let's get into the first book. So the first book that I am looking forward to is City of Bones by Marcel. They are doing a re-release of a lot of Marcel fantasy books, and this is another one of those that has been revised and is now being put out again by Tor Publishing. It comes out on the 5th of September, so it's coming up really fast. So this book, before Marcel captured the hearts of millions with their Murderbot series, there was Kot, Saga, and Ellen, a city risen out of death and decay. The city of Clarisset, a tiered monolith of the ancient design, sits on the edge of the vast desert known as the Waste. Kot, a member of the humanoid race created by the ancients to survive in the Waste, and Sagai, his human partner, are relic dealers working in the bottom tiers of society, trying to stay one step ahead of the trade inspectors. When Kot is hired by an powerful wanderer to find relics believed to be part of his ancient arcane engines, he and his party begin unraveling the mysteries of an age-old technology. This they expected. They soon find themselves as the vast lines of defense between the suffering masses of Clarisset and a fanatical cult bent on unleashing an evil upon the city with an undying thirst for bone. That they did not expect. And then it says this updated and revised edition is the author's preferred text. And I think that's kind of cool about books in general. This is true for indie authors that sometimes we choose to improve our work and then re-release them. But to see it happening in traditional publishing, I honestly think is, for the most part, a good thing because it shows how writing is dynamic. And books are dynamic. They're not just stagnant things on pieces of paper. And I think that's really cool. Alright, the next book I'm excited about, I actually already have been approved for an ARC, and so hopefully I will be picking it up very soon. It is Dreambound, a novel by Dan Frey, and it comes out in September 12th by Random House Publishing Group, Valentine Del Rey. When Brian Kidd's 12-year-old daughter vanishes, the only clue is a note claiming that she's taken off to explore the Hidden World, a magical land from a series of popular novels. She's not the only child to seek out this imaginary realm in recent years, and Brian, a cynical and hard-nosed reporter, is determined to discover the whereabouts of dozens of missing kids. Byron secures a high-profile interview with Annabelle Tobin, an eccentric author of the books, and heads off to her palatile home in the Hollywood Hills, but the truth Byron discovers is more fantastic than he ever could have dreamed. As he unearths locations from the books that seem to be bleeding into the real world, he must shed his doubts and dive headfirst into the mythical secret of Los Angeles if he hopes to reunite with his child. Soon Byron finds himself on his own epic journey, but if he's not careful, he could be the next one to disappear. Told through journal entries, transcripts, emails, and excerpts from Tobin's novels. Dreambound is a spellbinding homage to Los Angeles and an immersive and fast-paced story of how far a father will go, even delving into impossible worlds to save his daughter. I am so hooked on this concept because it takes this whole children wandering off into the other world and does it from an entirely different perspective of that of the parent. And that's what originally captured me to this book. Also, it's setting in Los Angeles. Finding books that are very positive towards Los Angeles are something I've been enjoying because I live here and sometimes it's hard to find the joy of living here. But overall, I'm so excited to pick this up really soon. It just seems fantastic. Alright, the third book on my list is Cursebreaker by Madeline Nakamura. The publication date is the 12th of September by Red Hen Press and Canis Major Books. Adrian Desfernex, professor of magic and disgraced ex-physician, has discovered a conspiracy. Someone is inflicting magical commas on the inhabitants of the massive city of Astrum, and no one knows how or why. Caught between a function of scheming magical academics and an explosive schism in the ranks of the Astrum's power-hungry military, Adrian is swallowed by a growing chaos, alongside Grenady, an unruly, damaging younger soldier, and Malise, a brilliant healer, and Adrian's best friend. Adrian searches for a way to stop the spreading curse from the city implodes. He must survive his own bipolar disorder, his self-destructive tendencies, and his entanglement with the man who doesn't love him back. The author is a queer AAPI neurodivergent author, and the book focuses on a queer man falling in love while battling bipolar disorder and getting inextricably involved in a mysterious conspiracy. So, obviously, I'm intrigued about this book because it is queer and because it is neurodivergent. We do not see a lot of bipolar representation, and I'm really hoping it's handled sensitively and well in the book, I'm assuming it's an own voice novel. I do not have bipolar disorder, but I raised a child, or have a child who has not quite bipolar disorder, but remnants. It's complicated. And I'm not getting onto it in camera, but so it's definitely a topic that's close to my heart. And have been surrounded by a lot of other parents with bipolar children. And so I'm really interested to see like that representation actually in books, and I'm hoping it's shows the positive aspects as well, because there are. So yeah, I'm all about this book. Alright, the fourth book on my list is A Crown So Cursed by L.L. McKinley, and it also releases on September 19th. It's by Macmillan Children's Publishing Group, and this is the YA book on my list. It is a sequel to, I don't know what book it is in the series, but it is an Alice in Wonderland retelling that the main character is black, and so it's very not white focused it's very like not white cultural focused of a retelling, which you don't find as much in this like type of writing. So that's why I originally picked it up. I adored the first book. I do plan on buying them all in print to have on my shelf, although that might have to wait because again I'm out of space. So I do have the first one in digital. I will be continuing with this series. I just need to prioritize it, but it's phenomenal, and another book releasing is like a kick in my backside to start picking it up again. And I highly recommend that you try out the first book. But I am going to tell you the synopsis of this current book, which is not the first book. So Alice and her crew are doing their best to recover from the last boss battle. But some of them keep having these dreams, a vision of a dark past and an even darker future. Sadly, the evil in Wonderland may not be as defeated as they Attacked by nightmares unlike any they've ever seen, Alice will have to step between the coming darkness and the mortal world once more. But this time is different. This time the monsters aren't waiting for her on the other side of the veil. They're in her own backyard. So yeah, definitely recommend you check out this book if you like urban fantasy at all. The next book on this list, I think a lot of people will be looking forward to, well, if you like V. Schwab, which I'm actually finding out not everyone does, but I adore her, so I am absolutely looking forward to it. I do have the art for it, and I do plan on probably picking it up very soon. It releases September 26th by Tor Publishing, and it is The Fragile Threads of Power by B. Schwab. Once there were 4 worlds, nestled like pages in a book, each pulsing with fantastical power and connected by a single city, London, until the magic grew too fast and forced the worlds to seal the doors between them in a desperate gamble to protect their own. The few magicians who could still open the doors grew more rare as time passed, and now only 3 Antari are known in recent memory. Kel Maresh of Red London, the Lila Bard of Grey London, and Holland Vasquez of White London. But barely a glimpse of them have been seen in the last 7 years, and a new Antari named Koska has appeared in White London, taking the throne in Holland's absence. The young queen is willing to feed her city with blood, including her own, but her growing religious fervor has the potential to draw it instead. And back in Red London, King Rai Maresh is threatened by a rising rebellion, one determined to correct the balance of power by raising the throne entirely. These 2 royals from very different empires now face very similar struggles: how to keep their crowns and their own heads. Amidst this tapestry of old friends and new enemies, a girl with an unusual magical ability comes into possession of a device that could change the fate of all 4 worlds. Her name is Tess, and she's the only one who can bring them together, or unravel it all. Dude, I want to go start this book now. I might, actually. Phenomenal. Also, I'm thinking I'm going to reread the entire trilogy and then read this book again after the fact, because I feel like I'm going to want to read it twice, and I also don't want to wait to reread the trilogy, but then I also think I want to reread the trilogy to get all the references before I read this book. So that means reading it twice. So I already have like huge plans for this book. Alright, the next book on this list also have big plans for. It is Brandon Sanderson's last secret novel, secret novel number 4. I am not putting out the title because not until it's released, because some people are remaining spoiler free, honestly myself included. I don't know what the title is. I haven't looked it up. I actually don't know what the book description is, and I have it right here and I haven't read it. I just copied and pasted it, and I don't think I'm going to read it for you all because I don't want to even spoil myself that much. I've gone into all 3 of the secret novels with no idea of what I was getting into, and I really want to start it that way. So I will say that it releases on October 1st if you have purchased them through the Kickstarter. And so I will be reading this on October 1st when it releases, and letting you all know. And then I'll tell you what it's all about. But until then, I don't even want to know. Well, okay, I do know it's fantasy because I looked up that much enough to know which list to put it on. And that's all I know, is that it's fantasy and Cosmere. And that's all I'm leaving it as. So October 1st, Brandon Sanderson, secret novel number 4. And the year of Sanderson will not exactly be over, but at the same time will be over because that's like the last secret novel. I've had fun reading Sanderson this year, so it makes me a little sad that it's coming to an end. Oh, book 7 I'm so excited about. It is Sterling House by Alex Iharo, and I adore Alex Iharo. Their books are phenomenal. Absolutely love them. They wrote the 10,000 Doors of January, which I cannot believe I don't have a physical copy of, but I do have the ebook copy of it. Adored it. Now I want to go reread it. Anyways, alright. So, Starling House by Alex Iharo. It releases on the 3rd of October by Tor. It is a gorgeous modern gothic fantasy from the New York Times bestselling author of 10,000 Doors of January. I dream sometimes about a house I've never seen. Opal is a lot of things. Orphan, high school dropout, full-time cynic, and part-time cashier. But above all, she is determined to find a better life for her younger brother, Jasper. One that gets them out of Eden, Kentucky, a town remarkable for only two things, bad luck and E. Sterling, the reclusive 19th century author of The Underland, who disappeared over 100 years ago. All she left behind were dark rumors and her home. Everyone agrees that it's best to ignore the uncanny mansion and its misanthropic heir, Arthur. Almost everyone, anyway. I should be scared, but in the dream, I don't hesitate. Opal has been obsessed with the Underland since she was a child. When she gets the chance to step inside Sterling House and make some extra cash for her brother's escape fund, she can't resist. But sinister forces are digging deeper into the buried secrets of Sterling House, and Arthur's own nightmare have become far too real. As Eden itself seems to be drowning in its own ghosts, Opal realizes that she might finally have found a reason to stick around. In my dream, I'm home, and now she'll have to fight. Welcome to Sterling House. Enter, if you dare. I mean, hello? Like, I'm so excited for that book. It just sounds fantastic. And I know I adore the writer and the writing styles, so I cannot wait. Alright, the 8th book on my list is A Power Unbound by Freya Marski. It releases on November 7th by Tor Publishing. And it is about secrets, magic, enemies to something more. Jack Alliston, Lord Hawthorne, would love a nice, safe, comfortable life. After the death of his twin sister, he thought he was done with magic for good. But with the threat of a dangerous ritual hanging over every magician in Britain, he's drawn reluctantly back into that world. Now Jack is living in a bizarre puzzle box of a magical London townhouse, helping an unlikely group of friends track down a final piece of the lost contract before their enemy can do the same. And to make matters worse, they need the help of writer and thief Alan Ross. Cagey and argumentative, Alan is only in this for the money. The aristocratic Lord Hawthorne, with all his unearned power, is everything that Alan hates, and unfortunately Alan happens to be everything that Jack wants in one gorgeous, infuriating package. When a plot to seize unimaginable power comes to a head at Cheetham Hall, Jack's ancestral family estate, a land so old and bound in oaths that it's grown personally as prickly as its owner, Jack, Alan, and their allies will become entangled in a night of champagne secrets and bloody sacrifice, and the foundation of magic in Britain will be torn up by the roots before the end. I think this book could go either way about loving it or not, but I was really drawn in by the description, and hopefully it's going to be a fantastically amazing book. And that is my list. Eight fantasy books that I am looking forward to, but I am very muchly looking forward to all 8 of them. So I can't wait for them to come out. I can't wait to start picking up the arcs. There's some phenomenal fantasy books coming out in the last part of 2023. But did I miss any? Is there some sequels on here that I didn't put on that I should have, even if I haven't read them yet? Let me know in the comment down below. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your support. And to continue seeing my videos, please follow, hit the bell notification. And it really helps my still growing channel. As always, keep reading, keep writing, and until next time.